So, are you moving here or you live here and you're trying to decide where to live in the DC area and you are super confused? Are you wondering about Maryland? All right, Maryland is pretty awesome, and we're going to talk about everything I love about Maryland except for two things. Okay, so I'm Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama. I do these videos for you every week, and I break down living in DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia. I've been here over 20 years. I dive pretty deep on these. I know the areas super well. I do not use AI. I write everything myself. I research everything myself. I go test out things myself. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss the new videos. So let's dive in. The pros of living in Maryland's suburbs of DC. Number one, green space. You guys, Maryland is excellent at preserving green space and trees. There is rarely a development that wasn't thought out super well. Each jurisdiction responsible for approvals gives serious consideration to every single tree. And I am not joking, on a property, when there is a development application in, they use something called tree banks. It's probably something you've maybe never heard of. What are they? Well, the counties all have what they call master plans. That's not just here. That's going to be anywhere in the country where you live and all of that. They have something called a master plan, and that really guides what the development rights and standards are going to be for the property within the county. So within that plan, there are a number of requirements, say number of acres of trees and green space and allowable approaches that they will have when dealing with existing trees. And then that area is earmarked and has an easement on it that it will never be developed. And that way it keeps the proportion of green space sort of in conjunction with the original design intention of that master plan of the county. Now, some counties in the country will want to save all the trees at any cost, and others will not. Maryland tends to lean on the side of saving all the trees, even when multiple third-party arborists will come and testify that tree is dead, ma'am. They don't care. So my husband's a real estate developer, and he tells me some wild stories about these approval meetings. People are serious about their trees. They take this green space seriously, and he's had to hire several arborists who will still come testify, tell them that the tree might be a danger or whatever, the situation is. They don't care. They just don't care. They want their trees. Number two, location. The location of Maryland is amazing for both its proximity locally to everything that you need and also its location in the country. So depending on where you live, you will have a choice of two international airports. So you've got Baltimore and then Dulles in Northern Virginia. Then you've also got Reagan National Airport in Arlington, which is for domestic flights. The location is also great for taking advantage of weekend getaways. You can do day trips to all kinds of places. Baltimore, Frederick, Maryland is like a cute little town. Annapolis is a great town on the water. St. Michael's is on the, eastern shore, but people love to go there. That's a cute little town. You can get to all these places within about an hour to an hour and a half. Now you can get to the mountains in less than 2 hours. You can get to the beach in about 2 hours. And you can also, on a good day, if you're driving, get to New York in 4 hours by car or bus. Depends on that traffic. Or as I always say, it depends on the Bronx. Well, if you're going to New York City, you're not hitting the Bronx. But I go to Connecticut. I hit the Bronx, and point do I hit it. I spent a lot of time in my car there. But if you can do it by train, yeah, you'll get there in 3.5 to 4 hours. It's amazing. It's also easy to get to Philly. You can do that by train as well. Or Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is a place that we've gone to a lot for a quick weekend trip with the kiddos. Number three is diversity. So when clients contact me about diversity and inclusion as being something that's really important to their family, I can always count on Maryland to be a place that they're going to find somewhere to feel home. Now, Montgomery County is the main area that I service in Maryland, and there is such a diversity in so many capacities, and not just like backgrounds of people. Yes, people come from all over the world, and they find their home in Maryland, and they will find their place there. But there's also this diverse array of lifestyles. So in Montgomery County, you can live, if you want a city, you can do Silver Spring. If you want more of like an urban kind of feel, you can do Bethesda or Rockville. If you want rural, you can find that too. And that's actually pretty amazing. You can also, get to the beach, not Montgomery County, but you can, if you want a beach life, it feels like a vacation out in Annapolis every time I'm out there. Now, some communities here are even super progressive, such as places like Tacoma Park, where I'm looking at you, they have local elections and they allow people as young as 16 to vote in their local elections because they want them to feel like they are part of that local political movement, which is amazing. They get them involved early. Number 4 is crabs. I mean, food. I really mean crabs. So when I lived in Rockville, I would sit at Tower Oaks Lodge every single weekend inhaling their crab dip. Crab artichoke dip there is amazing. I've been getting it for 20 years and it never fails to disappoint. If you like crab, there is no better place to be on the East Coast than Maryland. If you are a crab purist and you do not like your crab mixed with artichokes and cheese and all of that like I did at Tower Oaks, you can find many, many crab houses where you can hammer away at fresh crabs and pull your own meat. It is an art. I can teach you how to do it because it's amazing. If you have a shellfish allergy, I'm super sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry because that just means there's more crabs for the rest of us. But anyway, I don't want you to die or anything like that. I'll get you spaghetti. So there's so much more here, though, in the way of ethnic food. So we benefit tremendously from a diverse population in the metro area with so many restaurants and ethnic grocery stores. There's so many food choices, you'd have trouble hitting them all without gaining like a few dozen pounds. So what's here? French, Italian, Lebanese, Ethiopian, Middle Eastern, Greek, Asian, farm to table, Cuban, Mexican, Brazilian. The list goes on and on and on, as does the eating. Number 5 is climate. So it is thankfully very mild here in the DC area. We have 4 seasons, although the locals will tell you we have 12 seasons. Those seasons are winter, fool's spring, second winter, spring of deception, third winter, the pollinating, actual spring, summer, hell's front porch, false fall, second summer, actual fall. We're somewhere now between second summer and actual fall. I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, seasons like actual spring, they last for 45 minutes, so enjoy them while they are here. Same thing with the fall. You wake up one day and you see those leaves, take pictures because tomorrow the windstorm could blow through and they will all be gone. Don't think I'm kidding. That happens to us every single year. So expect to wear shorts for June, July, August, and September. Hats and gloves and scarves in December, January, and February. Our winters are usually not too bad. We don't often get weather below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Summers can get to 100, but it usually will top out in the 90s. If you live north toward Frederick or north of I-70, like in the winter, you could actually have snow because that's like heading further up and toward the mountains. It's really kind of wild. Like it might be 15 degrees warmer further south, like just by a few minutes. So I lived in grad school northwest of Baltimore and I would routinely arrive to work in Columbia with snow on my car. And everybody else thought I was lying until I like took them to the window and pointed and they were like, Jesus, it snowed where you live? I didn't even live that far away. Just total different in elevation and everything, and it made such a difference. Number 6 is education. So the school systems for the kiddos here are top-notch. Montgomery County schools are progressive and very highly sought after. There's a lot of school choice as well, and there's also what like they call different consortia, where they bulk a bunch of schools together, like high schools, and then you have this option to go to a different school within a region based on a specific interest that you might have. There are several top high schools in the country that are located in Montgomery County. But when Bethesda Magazine pulls out their annual college issue, the results are actually staggering. Students at many of the Montgomery County high schools are very, very successful when it comes to college applications. There is no one top high school here, like people might say. There are probably close to a dozen in the county that just rank extremely well. And when you break down those college applications versus how many applied and how many got in, you know, you might see at the quote unquote top high school that 40 applied to a Harvard and then like 5 got in, but you might see at what people call like a second rung high school that 20 applied to Harvard and 5 got in. So, I mean, yeah, the percentage is better, but the same number, they're still accepting the same number of kids. So that's just something that, you know, keep that in mind. Like people are going to talk about the best of the best, but you're in good hands in Montgomery County. Number 7 is the outdoor recreation. So recreation in Maryland is kind of unbelievable. Goes back to all that green space. It's Really easy to hop on trails here. There's Capitol Crescent Trail, which goes from Bethesda to Georgetown in DC. You've got trails all along the Potomac River, all through Rock Creek Park if you want to get close to nature. Maryland is also very pedestrian friendly, and you'll notice that on any road that you drive, like lots of sidewalks, lots of people walking. You can also take advantage of many recreation centers where they offer all kinds of classes from fitness and dance, arts and crafts, martial arts. There's a ton of choices. So people who move here from the West Coast and more progressive areas tend to really like Maryland and everything that it has to offer. Don't forget, don't hop off. I promised you a couple things that I don't love, so let's do that next. So, cons of living in the Maryland suburbs of DC. Number 1, you probably already know if you watched any of my videos, it's traffic and drivers. Because Maryland home prices, let's do traffic part first. Maryland home prices have trended slightly lower than neighboring Virginia, which is a good thing. They've got a lot more of like the closer in affordable areas. And so there's more commuters that head back to Maryland after work. If you drive, you're going to be in this traffic basically. And they head sort of in all directions, but it's like one giant swoop of everybody going to Maryland. Now, the metro also does not go as far into Maryland as it does on the Virginia side, so this kind of creates this perfect storm for flows of traffic. A tidbit of good news, so far, Maryland has not imposed any toll lanes. There is an HOV overpass lane on 270 that you can use to get like to 270 and the flyover, and then do the flyover on the interchange. But lots of people cheat, so once you're up there, you're up in the sky, you're in one lane, and I mean, you want to make it 3 lanes because the shoulders are both so wide up there, but it's 1 lane and a lot of people cheat, so you'll see a lot of single heads in those cars going up on that overpass. Now a tidbit of bad news. Well, it's more than the tidbit of bad news, and you probably already know. Maryland drivers are some of the freaking worst I've ever seen in the country, and I've lived a lot of places. I talk about it all the time. People move here and they like think I'm joking. I just can't stress this enough. I feel like I should get a shirt that says it. People move here, they watch my videos, they hire me, I help them find a house, they move here, and then a few months later, I get that call or text. They're like, I have to tell you that I really thought you were joking and exaggerating. No, I am not joking or exaggerating. I can't explain this. I can just tell you that they are really bad drivers. So I will repeat it incessantly because defensive driving legit takes on a whole new meaning in Maryland. Like, you got to think what that person's going to do in front of you, but it still doesn't matter because they'll do the stupidest crap. And you're like, why'd you slam on your brakes in the left lane on a highway where everyone else is going 75 miles an hour just because you missed your exit? Don't you just want to go to the next exit so you don't cause like a 47 car pileup? Nope, they don't give a crap. Not at all. Number 2 is cost of living. It is expensive in Maryland. Some slight good news though, like we alluded to, there's some more housing affordability though on the Maryland side closer to the Beltway than you can ever find on the Virginia side. You can get homes in Silver Spring in the 600,000s. It's virtually impossible to find a single family home in the 600,000s on the Virginia side unless you do either like a townhouse or you are pretty far from the Beltway. Definitely not the case in Maryland, but that does not mean that life in Maryland is cheaper on this side of the Potomac. Maryland has a state income tax that is similar to Virginia. It's not a flat tax. You do move up in brackets, but it does cap out where Virginia's does, which is 5.75%. Now, there is one huge difference. Maryland counties impose income taxes as well. We do not see that in Virginia. In most cases, this is going to add another 3% or more to the income tax that you owe. Virginia does not have income tax at the county level. Virginia's counties have almost no taxing authority other than the property taxes. I hope this gave you all the details that you need to consider in moving to the crab state. It's not really called the crab state, but I call it the crab state. If you are ready to crack some crab shells, my contact info is coming next.